member of who was a member of the Indian Parliament, and the statistics show that over $40 trillion US dollars was looted from India over the 200 years, and over 45 million Hindus were dead due to famines and poverty imposed by British policies and reprisal killings for from the 1857 mutiny, and over 680 native kingdoms were usurped by the British Raj. And the third phase of the destruction of the Hindu civilization, which is the phase of secular India from 1947 to the present day, where brown faces, British attitudes, and policies towards Hindus have continued the destruction of the Hindu civilization. And this quotation from the first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, has said in his prison diaries in 1935, he said, "What a disgusting savage people we are. Politics, progress, socialism, communism, science. Where are they before this black religious savagery? India can never be a Hindu republic." So this is a statement made by the first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru. And the destruction of the Hindu civilization continued with other leaders of secular India. And B.R. Ambedkar, India's first law minister and principal architect of the Indian Constitution, has said in the Pakistan or the partition of India in 1940, he said, "If Hindu Raj does become a fact, it will no doubt be the greatest calamity for this country. No matter what the Hindus say, Hinduism is a menace to liberty, equality, and fraternity. At any cost." And this is a statement made by a leader of modern secular India, by B.R. Ambedkar. And further destruction continues with the various governmental policies and secular India. The modern Indian legal system, academia, and media all systematically undermine, suppress, and delegitimize Hindu institutions and culture. India's constitution established government control and taxation over Hindu temples, schools, etc., while other religions are free from interference. Articles 26 to 30 of India's constitution discriminate against Hindus by giving special rights and benefits to non-Hindus, government benefits, scholarships, etc. Hindu kingdoms and self-governance were abolished. Anti-superstition laws were passed to criminalize Hindu practices. Mainstream Indian academics describe Hindus as sexist, racist, backwards, and oppressors. Negative media portrayals of Hindus in Bollywood and on TV abound. So you can see some statistics here where some questions from a survey. It says, "Are places of worship controlled by state governments for Hindus? Yes. Muslims? No. Christians? No. Sikhs? No. Can more places of worship be brought under government control? For Hindus? Yes. For Muslims? No. Christians? No. Sikhs? No. Does government manage place of worship's finances? For Hindus? Yes. For Muslims, Christians, and Sikhs, no. Does the government manage place of worship administration, including religious rituals? For Hindus, yes. For Muslims, Christians, and Sikhs, no. Can government dispose or sell place of worship assets? For Hindus, yes. For Muslims, Christians, and Sikhs, no. Is the place of worship income taxed? For Hindus, yes. For Christians, Muslims, and Sikhs, no. Can government use place of worship income for other purposes? For Hindus, yes. For Christians, Muslims, and Sikhs, no. Do practitioners have a say in the management of place of worship affairs? For Hindus, no. For Christians, Muslims, and Sikhs, yes. Can governments interfere in the management of educational institutions run by religious bodies? For Hindus, yes. For and this is secular India. This is which continues to Nithyananda. I apologize for the technical glitch. And now let's continue to prepare for the live Bhava Samadhi Darshan, the Sundare. So let us continue our next segment where we'll get ready to receive the live darshan and blessings of Bhagavan Sundareshwara. Welcome back to this segment where we'll be learning more and getting ready to receive the live darshan of Bhagavan Sundareshwara Paramashiva Sayujya Samadhi Darshan. And let us manifest the superconscious experience of the Shiva Sayujya Samadhi through the darshan of Irayanar Bhagavan Sundareshwara Paramashiva. Let's get ready for the rare, unique, powerful initiation into God equation to make human beings into multiverse species by Sundareshwara Paramashiva. So what is Sundareshwara Paramashiva Sayujya Samadhi Darshan? Let us watch a video where Sundareshwara himself describes this beautiful darshan.
Shiv, Shiv, Shiv. Paramashiva, I will manifest the physics of my existence. Cognize this in your Hridaya Akasha, in the Gandha. You will experience my existence. Sundareshwara Paramashiva. The countless, uncountable, by any visualized, assumed mathematics. Brahmandas manifest in me, exist in me, get rejuvenated in me, get deluded inside me, gets liberated inside me. For all the countless Brahmandas to exist, to get created, to get sustained, to get rejuvenated, to get deluded, to get liberated. I am the space.
And beautifully, Bhagavan Sundareshwara Paramashiva revealed in this video. He said, I will manifest the physics of my existence. You will experience my existence, Sundareshwara Paramashiva, by any visualized, assumed Brahmandas manifest in me, exist in me, get rejuvenated in me, get deluded inside me, get liberated inside me. All the countless Brahmandas to exist, to get created, to get sustained, to get rejuvenated, to get deluded, to get liberated. I am the space. And let us now take a look at our world today. The current situation of the world, the risks, the environmental risks and the environmental situation that our world faces today. According to the United Nations, a new scientific report from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, warns that we are on a crash course towards catastrophe if global temperatures are allowed to rise. The window to slow or even halt some of these worsening impacts is rapidly closing, and the message is clear: we must take action now. And we can see from this chart how the extreme weather, where it has led to a 170% increase in flood risk, in the existence of species, 18% of insects, 16% of plants, and 8% of vertebrates will be affected. 410 million urban residents are exposed to severe drought by 2100. And Arctic sea ice-free summers in the Arctic, at least every once in 10 years. The scientists foresee that Arctic may have ice-free summers once in every 10 years. And 28% of the world's population, or 2 billion people, will be exposed to extreme heat waves at least once every 20 years. 49 million people will be impacted by sea level rise of 56 centimeters by the year 2100, and lower economic growth at 2 degrees Celsius than at 1.5 degrees Celsius for many countries, particularly in the low-income countries. And lower risks to marine biodiversity, ecosystems, and their ecological functions and services at 1.5 degrees Celsius compared to 2 degrees Celsius increase in the global warming. And coral bleaching. Virtually all coral reefs are lost by 2100. If we have a 2 degree Celsius increase in global warming, the scientists expect that virtually all coral reefs will be lost by 2100. And the food, with every half degree of global warming, will consistently lead to lower yields and lower nutritional content in the tropical regions. So these are the various impacts of global warming as reported by the United Nations in their scientific report. And let us now look at this video by the United Nations about the state of our world today.
In 2019, fire was spreading throughout our planet, quite literally, in places like Australia and the Amazon basin, where forest blazes supercharged by climate change wreaked havoc. In other places, mass protests flared up, fueled by a combination of job insecurity, growing inequalities, and discontent with the current economic, social, and environmental status quo. The economy has slowed down globally, stifled by trade tensions and political uncertainty. The little growth we have had has failed to reach those who need it the most. Progress towards higher living standards has stalled for many countries and vulnerable groups of people. This has only deepened inequalities which were already growing in many countries, spurred on by automation, climate change, and other global trends.
And here we can see some of pictures of the current conditions in our world today. According to the World Health Organization, total cases for COVID-19 is over 221 million to date. Healthline.com states that new COVID-19 cases have risen to more than 150,000 per day in the United States, and experts warn that with emerging variants, this could lead to another surge in cases. And it is at this time of crisis that Bhagwan Sundareshwara has come down to heal the world. In this time of crisis, Bhagwan Sundareshwara has come down to earth with such extreme compassion for humanity. He states, "O bound souls, listen intensely. Your impossibility and irresponsibility made you surrender yourself to the delusion. Cognize the ultimate truth. Sundareshwara Paramashiva, I exist. Sundareshwara Paramashiva, I exist. The moment you remember me, call me, I am here for you." Irayanar Sundareshwara Paramashiva is the greatest and unique manifestation of Paramashiva as complete. He assumes physical, subtle, light bodies as and when he wants, plays with all the physical reality and corrects, influences, changes, adds, removes, deletes anything in this physical plane as he likes without even a reason, just for fun. Sometimes they manifest as Meenakshi and Sundareshwara as two bodies, one being. Sometimes as both in one body. That's the reason all his manifestations and plays are called Tiruvilayadal or Leela. And due to his causeless, limitless compassion, Irayanar Sundareshwara Paramashiva Paramparu is manifesting in all his glory as Purnavatara through this being, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam as Nijavatara. From the Shuddhadvaita Paramashiva Saripya Samadhi space, Irayanar Sundareshwara Paramashiva Paramparu will be manifesting through the supreme manifestation. Irayanar Sundareshwara Paramashiva Paramparu will give darshan, bless and shower boons as Leela. Sundareshwara Paramashiva himself has come down again in the form of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam as Swamiji, just to continue his legacy and Leela. To continue being available to all of us, playing his divine Leela, performing miracles in the lives of his devotees, attending to our prayers, and continuing the legacy as ruler of the whole of Madurai. Shamala Pita Sarvagnya Pitam as the 293rd Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam and as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, guiding the whole of humanity. And when you witness the Bhava Samadhi Darshan, your neurons mirror that of the avatar. Mirror neurons activate and process all the observed movements or information of the avatar just by seeing. That is, our entire body, silently and without movement, recreates what is happening in distances far away and experiencing the superconscious energy radiated by the avatar. As an effect of the mirroring neurons, all the powerful cognitions and powers of Bhagavan Sundareshwara are mirrored in you. Let us now understand what is the God equation as revealed by Bhagavan Sundareshwara Paramashiva. Sundareshwara Paramashiva has revealed. Exhale intensely whatever you have. Paramashiva will inhale in you, is the God equation. Nothing is more powerful than power manifestation science. It is the most exciting spiritual science. When you decide to manifest powers again and again and again, you know Paramashiva is within you and he is manifesting. You fall in love with Paramashiva every minute. If he manifests, you know he's real and he is manifesting. Even if you don't manifest what you declared, you will manifest the Gnana and Vijnana, the knowledge and understanding. Possibilities and powers of Paramashiva will manifest in you now. And let us now understand and learn more about the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who is giving us this beautiful and powerful science of power manifestation and guiding humanity to this superconscious breakthrough. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the 293rd Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam of Kailasonatha Shamalapita Sarvanyapita, His Divine Holiness Bhagwan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam is the reviver of Kailasa, a macrocosmic, ancient, enlightened Hindu civilizational nation. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the 1008th incarnation of Paramashiva as per Hinduism, recognized by his predecessors who are enlightened masters and adepts. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has made the science of power manifestation, yoga, and temple-based universities a lifestyle for humanity. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is ordained as the 233rd Guru Mahasannidhanam, the Pontiff of Kanchi Kailasa Sarvagnya Peetham, which is the Tondai Mandala Adinam. He is the incumbent emperor of Surya Vamsha Surangi Samrajyam. He is the present Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, the Pontiff of Kailasonatha Shamalapita Sarvagnya Peetham. He is the present Mahamandaleshwar, the supreme spiritual head of Mahanirvani Akada, the largest apex monastic order. So here you can see some pictures of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, ordained as the 233rd Guru Mahasannidhanam, the Pontiff of Kanchi Kailasa Sarvagnya Peetham, which is the Tondai Mandala Adinam. And here you can see some pictures of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism performing various rituals as the incumbent emperor of Surya Vamsha Surangi Samrajyam. And here you can see some pictures of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the coronation and celebrations of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the incumbent emperor of Surya Vamsha Surangi Samrajyam. Here you can see some pictures of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism being coronated as the present 293rd Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, the Pontiff of Kailasonatha Shamalapita of Kailasonatha Shamalapita Sarvagnya Peetham of Madurai, which is the oldest Hindu papal state and the monastic kingdom. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated at the age of 34 in the year 2012. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated and assumed the responsibilities as the 293rd Guru Mahasannidhanam of Madurai in the year 2012 at the age of 34. So you can see more pictures here where he is assumed the responsibilities and performing the duties and rituals as the 293rd Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam. Here are some pictures of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the present Mahamandaleshwar, the supreme spiritual head of Mahanirvani Akhada, the largest apex monastic order, being chosen as the Mahamandaleshwar and being honored by the sadhus, the Mandaleshwars and the Mahamandaleshwars, the leaders of the Akhadas at Kumbh Mela. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the 1008th Acharya Mahamandaleshwar, the head of all spiritual leaders of Atal Akhada, which is the ancient epics body of Hinduism. He is the present 23rd Sannidhanam of the Dharma Mukti Swargapuram Adinam. He is elected as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism by a congregation of over 1000 Hindu leaders, the pontiffs. And here you can see pictures of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism with various leaders of the Akada's Parishad and with his Balasans, the Nithyananda Gurukul Balasans and Sannyasis. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is also honored as the leader of Hinduism, the most awarded, internationally recognized Hindu leader, reviver of 108 ancient Hindu sampradayas, including the Rudra Kanyas, the Rudras, the Rishis, the Rishikas, Bhairavas, Bhairavis, Sannyasis, establisher of the largest Hindu university, the Kailasas Nithyananda Hindu University in the world, with satellite campuses in over 150 countries, establisher of 1000 plus Kailasa enlightenment ecosystems, found over 100 Sarvagya Pitas, collector of the largest Hindu library with over 1 million books, 1 million palm leaf scriptures, and over 20 million digital books. And here you can see the various spiritual de facto embassies of Kailasa established by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, over 22 Hindu universities, more than 38 temple monastic complexes, 19 kingdoms or Sarvagya Pitams, 120 temples, 34 satsang temples, 186 extended campuses of Nithyananda Hindu University, 2,175 Paramashivoham shakas, 25 e-Kailasas, 5,334 healing centers, 418 Paduka Mandirs, 242 Nithyananda Gurukuls, 1,898 youth centers, 1,898 ASP centers, 22 food banks, 2,175 satsang centers, 22 Nithyananda Jnanalayas, 12 animal shelters. All of these spiritual de facto embassies of Kailasas have been established globally by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And here you can see a patient of the peace walks of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, which has covered over 100,000 kilometers and has gifted the science of spiritual healing to more than 2 million human settlements thus far. So here you can see from the year 2000, the various Padayatras and the world tours the various yatras undertaken by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the peace walks, where millions have benefited from the science of spiritual healing. So the Padayatra in the year 2000, which covered over 15,000 kilometers, the World Tour Yatra, which covered over 4,000 kilometers, the Himalaya Yatra, which covered over 5,060 kilometers, the Himalaya Yatra in the year 2005, which covered over 7,000 kilometers, the Korikand Ratha Yatra, which covered 960 kilometers, the Himalaya Yatra again, which covered over 6,000 kilometers, the Cambodia Yatra, which covered over 1,000 kilometers, the Himalaya Yatra again, which covered more than 6,000 kilometers, the Korikand Ratha Yatra again, which covered 960 kilometers, the Himalaya Yatra, which covered 5,608 kilometers, the Himalaya Yatra, which covered 4,580 kilometers, the Tiruvannamalai Yatra, which covered 300 kilometers after the year 2010, the Kailash Yatra, which covered 600 kilometers, the India Tour Yatra, which covered over 5,000 kilometers, the Bali Yatra, which covered over 1,000 kilometers, and the Vijaya Yatra, which covered over 300 kilometers. So these are the various yatras from the year 2000 till date that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has undertaken as the peace walks to bless and spiritually heal humanity, and more than 2 million lives have benefited from these peace walks. And Irayanar Sundareshwara Paramashiva Parampuru is the manifestation of the beauty of the cosmos in flesh and bones. Irayanar Sundareshwara is the embodiment of superconsciousness expressed in human body, playing with all his glory. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revealed Irayanar Sundareshwara Paramashiva Parampuru as the complete manifestation of Paramashiva, assumes physical, subtle, light bodies as and when he wants as his divine manifestation. He plays with all the physical reality and corrects, alters, intervenes, influences, changes, adds, removes, deletes anything in this physical plane as he likes without even a reason. Irayanar Sundareshwara Paramashiva Parampuru is the greatest, unique, and complete manifestation of Paramashiva. Sundareshwara is the embodiment of superconsciousness expressed in the human body, playing with all his glory. He came down as the most handsome form to marry Devi Meenakshi and administer the city of Madurai. The kingdom of Madurai, known as Kailasonta Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam, the oldest Hindu papal state and enlightenment ecosystem, was established by Paramashiva. The kingdom of Madurai was later revived by Lord Sundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi, who, as the deities and incarnates of Paramashiva, ruled over Madurai, revived the foundation pillars of it as the highest living stream of spiritual sciences. And to ensure this tradition continues to elevate humanity for millennia, they enthroned their direct representatives and their divine energies in the form of the continuing lineage of living masters, the Guru Mahasannidhanas, with the responsibility to train and groom the kings in administration, constitution, and governance, acting as regents. They also performed the spiritual initiations on the kings and the citizens of the kingdom, imparting the enlightenment science to them. And here you can see the pictures of Devi Meenakshi and Bhagwan Sundareshwara and their enthroned direct representative Tirughyana Sambandha. And this lineage of living masters is also described in this verse, which says, Guru Paramparayatam Adrishtam Sarvavadibihi Bhavabandha Vimokshartam Paramam Sarvatomukham. And this supreme discipline of Adi Shaiva tradition has been coming down through the continuous lineage of the Guru disciple, the Adi Shaiva Guru Parampara, from time immemorial. This has been formulated for the attainment of complete liberation from the repeated phenomenon of birth and death. This is supreme in its kind and concerned with the ultimate benefit of all the souls. And here you can see the pictures of the lineage of Guru Mahasannidhanams of the Kailashonnatha Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pita. So here we have the pictures of the 288 Guru Mahasannidhanam of Kailasonnatha Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pita Srila Shri Arumugha Shri Jnana Sambandha Deshika Paramacharya Swamigal, and the 289th Guru Mahasannidhanam of Kailasonnatha Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pita Rao Bahadur Srila Shri Swaminatha Shri Jnana Sambandha Deshika Paramacharya Swamigal, and the 290th Guru Kailasonnatha Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pita Srila Shri Swami Paramacharya Swamigal, and the 291st Guru Mahasannidhanam of Kailasonnatha Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pita Srila Shri Somasundara Shri Jnana Sambandha Deshika Paramacharya Swamigal. And now, the lineage of living masters continues. Kailasonnatha Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam's rare and sacred lineage of pontiffs has been systematically carried over in an unbroken progression from ages. The chosen emissaries of Lord Paramashiva and Devi Parashakti, the Guru Mahasannidhanams, the pontiffs of Kailasonnatha Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam, are the direct representatives of the cosmos. So here you can also see the 292nd Guru Mahasannidhanam of Kailasonnatha Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam Srila Shri Aruna Girinatha Shri Jnana Sambandha Paramacharya Swamigal, and now the present 293rd Guru Mahasannidhanam, Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam of Kailasonnatha Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam Bhagavan Srila Shri Nithyananda Paramashivam Shri Jnana Sambandha Deshika Paramacharya Swamigal, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. On the 27th of April 2012, Srila Shri Nithyananda Shri Jnana Sambandha Deshika Paramacharya Swamigal was formally appointed as the 293rd Guru Mahasannidhanam of Kailasonnatha Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam, and is the lawful successor, descendant, and inheritor invested with all the powers, duties, obligations to perform the rituals, spiritual, religious, and customary rites vested in the Kailasonnatha Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pitam, has been reviving its spiritual, religious, and linguistic epicenters to its original glory. And let us now watch a short video which describes the history of the Kailasonatha Shamala Pita Sarvagna Pita, the Madurai Adinam, which is the world's oldest Hindu establishment.
The ancient temple town of Madurai in southern India boasts of a 2,500-year-old history of spirituality. Historians trace Madurai's existence back to the 3rd century BC, making it one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities of the world. Legend says that Madurai was established by the cosmic mother herself, who incarnated as Princess Meenakshi, daughter of the pious king Malayadwaja Pandian. An able queen and a fearless warrior, Meenakshi expanded her empire right up to Kailash in current China. But when she came face to face with the Lord of Kailash, Shiva himself, she recognized him as her eternal consort and dropped her arms to become Shiva's companion for life.
Along with Shiva, also known as Sundareshwara or the beautiful Lord, Meenakshi reigned over her kingdom for a glorious 166 years.
In course of time, with the rise of Jainism as a religious force, Madurai too fell to its powerful influence, and Shaivism all but vanished from the sacred kingdom where Shiva himself had once walked the earth. The renaissance of Shaivism in Madurai was the sacred task of a child incarnation, Tirunjana Sambandar, one of the 4 visionary saints of Shaiva Siddhanta tradition. The story goes that as a baby, Tirunjana Sambandar was once nourished by the milk of enlightenment from the cosmic mother herself. This child prodigy arrived in Madurai to effortlessly defeat the learned Jain monks with his wisdom, healing powers, and spiritual prowess, and restored Madurai to her beloved religion, Shaivism, by reviving the ancient Madurai Adinam and the Meenakshi temple, which had fallen to desolate ruin. Madurai Adinam is today the world's oldest living Hindu organization, with a recorded history alone spanning a glorious 1,500 years and an unbroken lineage of illustrious pontiffs to this very day. Over the centuries, Madurai Adinam has been patronized by the likes of Tipu Sultan, Robert Nobili, and the poet saint Vallalar. The pontiff of the Madurai Adinam is known by the title Guru Mahasannidhanam and inherits the responsibility of carrying forward the traditions of Tirunjana Sambandar's sacred work.
On 27th April 2012, a new era began in the history of Madurai Adinam. The 292nd Pontiff, Sri Shri Arunagirinatha Jnana Sambandha Desika Paramacharya Swamigal, guided by intuition and inducement by Lord Shiva, coronated a charismatic young saint as the 293rd Pontiff of the Madurai Adinam.
An accomplished yogi, a pragmatic social visionary, and an adept in mystical sciences, His Holiness Paramahamsa Nithyananda is revered as a divine incarnation by millions worldwide. Within weeks of his ascent to the sacred throne, he brought about sweeping changes to the Adinam, including the renovation of the ancient monastery, Annadan, free food for thousands every day, free medical camps, yoga classes, scriptural study, spiritual healing, and meditation programs. The traditional Adinam now has a website, and thousands participate in the morning worship and spiritual talks via live streaming and two-way video conferencing. Vast properties belonging to the Adinam are being reclaimed from illegal encroachment. Its numerous temples are being restored to sanctity, and the neighboring villages are being adopted, with basic amenities, education, and medical care being provided for all. His Holiness dreams of an authentic Vedic Renaissance for which India has already waited too long.
Here, I take the commitment of making Madurai Adinam as an international religious organization. We will fulfill all the responsibilities of Madurai Adinam, make Hindu tradition, Saiva tradition alive, revived, lived, celebrated all over the world.
With a brand new pontiff at its helm, Madurai Adinam promises to be more than just another traditional monastery. As a whole generation turns to spirituality for answers, the changes at Madurai Adinam mirror the changing role of spiritual organizations today as power centers and guiding the enlightened government of the new world. The
Today, for all of humanity, out of the billions of people on planet Earth, we are the most blessed people. For us, Sundareshwara is not a history, he's a happening. Sundareshwara Paramashiva himself has come down again in the form of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagwan Shri Nithyananda Paramashivam, as Swamiji, the 1008th incarnation of Paramashiva to revive Hinduism, to continue being available to all of us, playing his divine Leela, performing miracles in the lives of his devotees, attending to our prayers, and continuing the legacy as ruler of the whole of Madurai, Shamalapita Saranipita, as the 293rd Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, and as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, guiding the whole of humanity. Bhagavan Paramashiva assumed the physical body 11 times in Madurai just to perform his divine Leelas. Each action the divine energy performs becomes an independent entity. And if you connect with that energy, he gives you the same blessing. Understand, Sundareshwara is the energy of Leela, playfulness. Let us now learn more about one of the Leelas of Bhagavan Sundareshwara. This is the Leela of healing the Pandyan king's fever. Pandyanukku Jwaram Teerthapadanam. And here we can see a pictorial depiction of the various Leelas of Bhagavan Sundareshwara. In the Tiruvilayadal Puranam, which is a collection of 64 16th century Shaivite devotional epic stories written by Karanjoti Munivar. The Tiruvilayadal Puranam described the actions of Bhagavan Paramashiva on earth in a number of disguises to test his devotees. So each of Sundareshwara's dimensions are recorded as his one Leela. And in the Vedic tradition, we have 64 different arts. Each leader, a complete being, has to master the 64 arts. In that, even horse riding is one. Astrology, horse riding, the mastery in medicine, mastery in surgery, mastery in painting, mastery of dance. Each Leela of Sundareshwara proves his mastery on each art. There was never ever such an amazing imagination or visualization of the ultimate without reducing its Ananta Kalyana Gunas into human level. And here you can see a video where Swamiji has spoken about the Shiva Leelas, and this video is available on the YouTube channel, Kailasa's HDH Nithyananda YouTube channel. We invite each one of you to watch this beautiful narration of Shiva Leelas as narrated by Swamiji. So let us now understand more who are the Nayanmars. The Nayanars or the Nayanmars were a group of 63 saints living in Tamil Nadu during the third, who were devoted to Paramashiva. The list of Nayanmars was initially compiled by Sundarar or Sundaramurti Nayanar, and in his poem Tirutondatugai, he sings in 11 verses the names of the Nayanar saints up to Karaikal Ammayar and refers to himself as the servant of servants. The list goes into the detail of the lives of the saints, which were described in detail in works such as Devaram. And Paramashiva assumed the physical body 11 times in Madurai just to perform his divine Leelas. And each action the divine energy performs becomes an independent entity. If you connect with that energy, he gives you the same blessing. And understand, Sundareshwara is the Leela, is the energy of Leela, playfulness. The best way to connect with Bhagavan Sundareshwara Paramashiva is through Leela Dhyana. And today, let us meditate on the 62nd Leela from the Shiva Leela Arnava, Pandyanakku Jwaram Tirthapadanam, the Leela of healing the Pandyan king's fever. And these verses from the Shiva Leela Arnava Tantra describe this Shiva Leela of the 62nd Shiva Leela, which is the Leela of healing the Pandyan king's fever. And these verses describe that in the clan of Arimathana Pandya king, a king who was known for his magnanimity and who stood tall due to his widespread fame, was born with hunchback. Hence, people called him Poon Pandyan, the Pandya king with the hunchback. Though the king Poon Pandyan took birth in the Pandya clan, which had deep devotion for Paramashiva, Due to the ill effect of his long association with the Samanar, the people who used misunderstood ideas of Jainism to spread violence, he had not only fallen in their trap, but had received the initiation too. So, what to do? It is difficult to revert from the association with the wicked people. And in a clan consisting of great devotees of Paramashiva, which was quite sincere and integrated in observing the truths revealed in Vedas and performing the duties prescribed in the Vedas without any hindrance, a boy by name Jnanasambandar was born. Goddess Parvati herself protected the child by feeding her breast milk, who was once struggling without her. After this incident, people are addressing the child as Jnana Sambandhan or Jnana Puranan, as the child got enlightened at the childhood itself by the grace of Goddess Parvati. The child, who was the pride of the Brahmin community, was the reincarnation of Lord Muruga. During the childhood itself, he learned all the scriptures and keeping the Upanishads, the Hindu scriptures which reveal the underlying truths, as the testimony, he clearly explained the supremacy of Lord Shiva. Jnana Sambandar, being the embodiment of tattvas like sacred ash, Rudraksha, and the Shadakshara mantra, the Sharavana Bhava of Lord Muruga, was considered as an enlightened being, and some people worshipped him as a result of their good deeds in the past births and won over the evil attacks of the Kali Yuga. While the king Kun Pandyan's clan was surrounded by the harmful darkness of ignorance due to the preaching of the Samanar Acharyas, the queen and the minister remained deeply devoted to Paramashiva, who adorned his matted locks with the crescent moon. Both the queen and the minister, who had incomparable and deep devotion at the lotus feet of Jnana Sambandar, explained to him about the position of the king and tried to save the king, who was drowned in the heart in the heat of the dilapidated well, which is the deep ignorance. Once King Kun Pandyan was attacked by extremely high fever and was struggling. All the efforts taken by the Samanar Acharyas for the king to heal the king were unsuccessful. At that time, for the sake of the king's health, the queen herself very much pleaded with Jnana Sambandar, the enlightened master. The enlightened master, Jnana Sambandar, while entering the king's palace, remembered the form of Lord Shiva, who always remains cool due to the oozing out of the nectar from the crescent moon adorning his crown, and meditated upon the sacred truth, Shivoham, I am Shiva, in his inner space for a moment, and looked at the king who was affected by the heat of high fever. He showered his grace on the king through his eyes. Saint Jnana Sambandar, who was established in the state of enlightenment, which is beyond all the rules and regulations of ashrama dharma, the duties of the four stages of life as per the Sanatana Dharma, smeared the sacred ash on the forehead of the king as a result of the good deeds performed by the king in his previous births. He also applied the sacred ash on the chest of the king with his right hand which had worshipped the divine feet of Lord Shiva. While applying the sacred ash, Jnana Sambandar also sang the divine and healing verse Tirunitrupadikam. On receiving the sacred touch of the divine hands of Jnana Sambandar, which is described in the Rudram, the Vedic chant of Lord Shiva, as the most auspicious, the most holy, and the healing medicine of the three worlds. The king got rid of the high fever instantly. As the heat existing in the stomach was spreading all over the body, the king was suffering. When the king got rid of that suffering, the queen too became happy about the complete healing of the king. She rejoiced that not only the physical heat of the king got healed, but the religious heat of the samanar, the people who had used misunderstood ideas of Jainism to spread violence, was also put off in the king's life. The physical heat, which got removed from the king's body by the graceful eyes of Jnana Sambandar, got doubly evolved in the heat in the hearts of the Jain monks. And 80,000 Jain monks were living in the 8 mountains all over the earth. They were adept in many various forms of pranayama. When they got defeated by Jnana Sambandar while curing the physical illness of the king, the wandering devotee of Lord Shiva, they decided to win over him by debating with him. Hence, all of them gathered in Madurai. Jnana Sambandar was an expert in various fields like Vyakarana, Mimamsa, Tarka, and was well versed in the philosophies of Upanishads. The moment Jain monks approached him to start their debate, they got stuck mentally and became speechless. Vedic religion is proved categorically right by the justifications and the philosophy like Mimamsa Shastra, and is well established by the inquiries of the Tarka Shastra. Leaving aside all the valuable justifications, the Jain monks wanted to win over Jnana Sambandar just by their mere faith. And let us further see the description of this Leela. So, Kun or went back in Tamil, Kun Pandyan was a great king conquering the Cheran and the Cholan. He married Mangayarkarasi, the daughter of the Cholan. Pandyan was deeply involved in the Jain religion and spoke low of Shaiva traditions. Mangayarkarasi, a great lady, a woman with the stature of a sage, was a Shaivite. During this period, belonging to the Jain sect, the Samana Matam in Tamil, entered into Madurai and settled down there. King Nedumaran got attracted towards the Jain sect. He announced an order that all his citizens should follow the Jain sect. This gave a shock to his wife and the minister Kulachirayar, but they did not have the courage to talk to him on this matter with the great king, and the people were afraid to come to Meenakshi Amman temple in Madurai. The Queen Mangayarkarasi decided to pray to Lord Sundareshwara and talk to him on this worst state of affairs. She took the minister Kulachirayar along with her to the temple and prayed to God. At that moment, a Brahmin came inside the shrine. The Brahmin saluted the queen and said, "O queen, I am residing in the Chola country. I am on my visit to various divine places. I came here thinking of worshipping Lord Sundareshwarar of Madurai. I inquired with people here as to why no one is there in this temple. I became sad on hearing that the citizens are following the Jain sect and hence no one is visiting this temple." The queen immediately wrote a letter and said, "Oh, Brahmin, somehow or the other, please hand this letter over to Jnana Sambandar. Ask him to visit Madurai." The Brahmin, who came to know that Jnana Sambandar is staying at Vedaranyam, Tirumuraikadu, went there and immediately after reading the manuscript given by the queen, the letter given by the queen, Jnana Sambandar decided to visit Madurai. Tirunavukkarasar, another saint, said to him, "O Lord, you may not be knowing the Jains. I, the one who was affected by them, know about Jainism. Further, the planetary positions are not conducive for journey. Please start on an auspicious day." And Jnana Sambandar replied to him, "O Lord, we are the slaves of Paramashiva. When Paramashiva is there behind us, what can these planets do?" Then he immediately sang the song, "Veyuru Tholipangan Vidamunda Kandan Nalla Veenai Thiravi." Even today, those who feel that they will be affected by the adverse position of planets in their birth chart sing this song. And without bothering about the planetary positions, Jnana Sambandar immediately left for Madurai. Mangayarkarasi felt very happy on the arrival of Jnana Sambandar. The Jains got angry and decided to burn the house to kill Jnana Sambandar. Sambandar got infuriated. He immediately sang a collection of songs, the Padikam, beginning with the lines, "Cheyanna Thiru Alavai Meviya." Samandar then went to see the Pandyan king. On hearing this, the Jains told the king, "O king, the Samandar will not be able to cure this disease. We will cure it now in just 5 minutes." The king shouted, "O Jains, just remain aloof. Let Samandar alone give me the treatment." Samandar said, "I do not want any other thing. Just bring some ash from the kitchen of the temple." The ash was brought. Samandar made the king understand that your consciousness does not need to shrink. Because of this idea, everything is going to become ash. Listen, but your consciousness is beyond anything you see. Initiating him into this tattva of life and giving the ash as a prasada, when the tattva started spreading and expanding in Poon Pandyan's consciousness, the shrinking body stood up, the hunchback was cured, and he expanded and became known as Nindrasir Nedumaran Nayanar. And today, Bhagavan Sundareshwara himself has come down as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Let us now watch a video where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has spoken about the Shiva Leelas. So let us now watch this video where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself has spoken about the various leelas of Bhagavan Sundareshwara Paramashiva.
Let us start today's satsang in Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, Jnanakarma Sannyasa Yoga, 32nd verse.
एवं बहुविधाः यज्ञाः विताथा ब्रह्मणो मुखे कर्मजान् विद्दितान् सर्वान् एवं ज्ञात्वा विमोक्ष्यसे
एवं बहुविधाः यज्ञाः विधाता ब्रह्मणो मुखे कर्मजान् विद्दितान् सर्वान् एवं ज्ञात्वा विमोक्ष्यसे. Translation: thus worship of the divine energies is performed in various ways. In the beginning of expansion, understand that all of them originate in actions. Knowing this, you will be liberated. Sri Krishna is revealing some of the mystical secrets. How energies come into existence, how by connecting with them your expansion is possible. Please understand, one example I wanted to give. Brahma, in Hindu stories, Hindu Purana, Brahma becomes egoistic. So, Shiva's extension comes out as Kala Bhairava and cuts Brahma's head, removes the ego of Brahma and makes Brahma enlightened. This action, Shiva's energy coming out and removing the ego of Brahma and making him enlightened, this action becomes Kala Bhairava. So when you connect with Kala Bhairava and start worshipping the divine energy called Kala Bhairava, he removes your ego also and gives you enlightenment. Same way, Veerabhadra. Shiva's energy expanded and destroyed the collective negativity of Daksha, which causes suffering for himself and for others. Many times, your pain body becomes so strong, knowingly you cause suffering to you and to others. Even though you know you are causing suffering to you and to others, but the pain pattern is so strong, you can't escape. I can see very clearly. So many people, they know if they are out of me, if they are away from me, they are going to create suffering for themselves. But their ego, arrogance is so strong, they can't live. They can't live around me. I have seen so many times, even devotees, they know if they listen to my teachings and live, they will be out of their sufferings and torture they are doing to themselves and to others. But they don't want. Daksha represents the negativity which causes suffering to yourself and to others. Shiva's energy which came out and destroyed the Daksha's negativity is Veerabhadra. Understand? Veerabhadra did not kill Daksha. He gave life back to Daksha. So this energy which destroys your negativity of giving suffering to yourself and to others is called Virabhadra. If you connect with this divine energy and pray, feel connected, you will see in you also the pain body, the patterns which create suffering for yourself and others will be destroyed. It's a beautiful verse. Eva Bahuvita Brahmano Mukhe Karmajan Vididan Sakshans. Knowing this, you will be liberated. Same way, if you are frozen, closed, then start connecting with Krishna, who is doing Rasa Leela, who just opened himself to the whole universe. Understand? Krishna's Rasa Leela did not happen just with Gopikas. It happened with the plants, trees, rocks, Yamuna, whole thing. And the Purnima Chandra, the full moon, with whole, he had Rasa Leela. His Rasa Leela was enjoyed existence. Gopikas were also happened to be there, that's all. It was not concentrated towards Gopikas. It was with the whole. So if you are frozen, having the sickening suffocation, many times people do have this sickening suffocation. Come on, then expand. It is time. You meditate on Rasa Leela Krishna. So each action of divine, each action of an incarnation becomes independent energy by itself. Shiva's one action, cutting Brahma's head and giving him enlightenment, it became an independent energy called Kala Bhairava. Shiva's one action of killing the negativity of Daksha and liberating him from negativity and negative patterns became independent divine energy called Virabhadra. Shiva's one action of teaching in silence to Sanagadi rishis and giving them enlightenment becomes Dakshinamurti. Just each action of divine becomes one form, one energy. Understand? When Shiva assumed the body and married Meenakshi and ruled this Pandya kingdom, he became Sundara Pandya. That action became an independent energy of Sundara Pandya. Just yesterday, I was reading the Akashic records in the night. I verified again and again. Earlier when I was seeing, I felt he has taken 3 bodies. Yesterday I saw he has taken more than 11 bodies. Only to play in and around Madurai. Please understand, in this way, no other geographical place is equivalent to Madurai, where Shiva has taken 11 bodies to play just in Madurai. See, in one body he has played in many places. That record is there. When he assumed one body, he has gone to many places and did his leelas. In one body, doing leelas in 11 places, there are enough records. But 11 bodies to do leelas in one place, only in Madurai's history, the record is there. More than 11 bodies he has assumed at different times to play the Leelas. The Leela he performed, the first body he assumed to perform the Leelas in Madurai is marrying Meenakshi. To marry Meenakshi and all the Leelas related to that time, marrying Meenakshi and bringing Vaigai to Madurai, all those Leelas were performed in one body. That body is directly under the Sundareshwara's Linga. The main Garbha Mandir, under the Sundareshwara Linga, that body is resting. It is there in Jiva Samadhi. And second, he has assumed one more body to build embankment for Vaigai river and converting all the foxes into horse to save his disciple Manikyavasagar. All those Leelas, around 40 years he was in that body and performed many Leelas. That body is resting in our property near Dinamani Takis. There is a place in Madurai, near Dinamani Takis, there is a Samadhi inside Madurai Adinam property. It is called Sundaranar Samadhi. And Sundarananda's Jiva Samadhi, people used to think it is one of the 18 Siddhas. It is not one of the, of course, it is one in the 18, but Shiva himself assumed the human form. 40 years he was in that body. That thing in Madurai, the place Dinamani Takis, opposite to that Takis, there is a property, belongs to Madurai Adinam property. There he is resting. And the third body, which he assumed to give sugar cane to stone elephant, and stone elephant ate that sugar cane. For that Leela, he assumed one more body that is there inside the temple under the Samadhi of, under the shrine of Ellamalla Sittar. Under his Murti, that third body is there. Still, I am not able to trace the other places of the remaining 8 bodies. I could see cosmically where are they, but in the Madurai map I am not able to pinpoint where the remaining 8 bodies are. Soon I will study the Madurai map and overlap my cosmic map on Madurai map and give you guys the exact points where the bodies he assumed are resting and radiating. I tell you, if you see from this angle, no other place, even in Kailash, is only one body is resting. There are 1 lakh enlightened beings' bodies are resting. That is different. But his own, the body which he used, only one body is resting. In Varanasi, 2 bodies are resting. Even in Thiruvannamalai, only one body, Arunagiri Yogeshwara's body, only is resting. I was shocked when I read yesterday the Akashic records. 11 bodies he has assumed. I tell you, Madurai was his honeymoon place. It was his favorite. Somehow, Madurai people had a very close, hearty connection with Mahadeva. Even for small things, he will assume a body. Come here and play. This was the place where he was very playful and joyful without any of the so-called social laws, regulations and the dharma which he himself created. Here, he has broken the laws he created as per the planets. He has changed the planets for Madurai people. He has changed the teachings for Madurai people. He has changed the social laws for Madurai people. He has broken all the moral rules for Madurai people. He has done everything possible. Socially accepted, unaccepted, legal, illegal, dharmic, adharmic. In which Shastra it is dharmic? You convert the wolves into horses and sell them, and after you sell and go away, all that fellows, they become overnight, they become again wolf and bite and kill all the remaining horses who are there. And that poor king is now pauper. In which dharma it is accepted? In which Shastra it is accepted? He has done everything possible. He comes down as a worker for the old lady, saying that, see, once there was a flood, huge flood in Vaigai river, and king ordered all the citizens of Madurai should take up one portion and cover it with mud and build an embankment. So all of them have taken up one portion. One old lady, Vandi, her job is that making idli and puttu. Puttu is those days breakfast. She will make all this and sell for people. Still now, in Madurai it is a very fast business. Go out in the night, you will see hundreds of shops. The outside street, they will be making these idlis and selling, breakfast and selling. It is still their tradition. Now it is called Kushbu idli. In those days, it's a tradition of Vandi. So she used to make this pittu and sell. Those days breakfast. She did not get anybody to cover her portion, and she herself can't do. She is too old. She prays to Sundareshwara. This whole city, still now, any problem, the only person they turn to is Sundareshwara. They don't trust anybody else. They just turn towards Sundareshwara. And she's the old lady. She can't get a worker to fill her portion, to do her job. She turns towards Sundareshwara. Oh Chokanada, Sundareshwara. This guy would have just one thought, the whole Vaigai would have built, add embankment automatically. He does not do that. He comes down, assuming human body and bargaining with that lady. You should give me the pittu as much as I want, but I will work only for 3 hours. He says, I will work only for 2 muhurta. 1 muhurta is 1.5 hours. I will work only for 2 muhurta, but you should give me as much as I want. This poor lady, she doesn't have anybody else. So she says, all right, go ahead. You can see what is puttu. Come on, show me. This is puttu. Those days breakfast. She doesn't have anybody else. So no other option. She accepts the bargain. This fellow finally finishes eating everything she cooked. After that, it doesn't work. He goes there and lies down in that bed. So he goes and lies down in the banks of Vaigai. I also traced the palace he had in Vaigai. Just in between, the mid of the water, he had a palace where he used to drink with that, all the bhutas. He was not a womanizer. He used to drink and gamble. He will have all these bhutas around and they will play the dice. He will gamble with them. Finally, what is there? Finally, he will cheat all of them. And he was not a womanizer. He used to drink and gamble. Anyhow. So he went and lie down in the bank of Vaigai. King comes in the evening to see whether the embankment work is done. He sees all Parts have been covered except his portion, the Vandi's portion. King got very annoyed and asked whose portion it is. They said this is Vandi, old lady's portion. He asked, naturally she won't be able to do. Who is doing for her? They showed this guy has been employed by her, but from morning he is not doing anything, he is just lying there. So king calls him and asks, who are you? This fellow says, who are you to ask me this? King says, I am the king of this Madurai. He says, that is the way so many people are thinking, but actually I am the king. There was a strong argument. Finally, king was very angry and he took his sengol, the golden staff with which he rules the country, and gave a strong blow in the back of Sundareshwara. When that beating fell on Sundareshwara, when that stick fell on the Sundareshwara, at that same moment he showed to the king, he is the Antaryami, he is the indweller of every being, cosmos. So the whole world, whole universe, including himself, had that beating. The whole cosmos, including the king, had the mark of that golden staff, scepter, golden scepter's mark. And king was shocked. There he sees Sundareshwara standing with Meenakshi and smiling. King realized who came to play in the form of a worker, and he fell at the feet of Sundareshwara, asked him to apologize. And Sundareshwara says, just because of Vandi's feeling connection, to please her, to eat her food, to enjoy her puttu, breakfast, I came and I enjoyed. He liberated, he gives enlightenment to Vandi and blesses the king and disappears. Till the end, he has not done his job. He did not do the job of building the embankment to the Vaigai. Casual leelas, not one or two, 64 leelas. God, I know for sure he would have done at least 64,000. And Paranjori Munivar, the compiler, was able to collect only 64, representing all the 64,000s of leelas. The body with which he has performed this leela, especially blessing the Vandi and converting the wolves into horses, foxes into horses, that season, around 40 years, he has performed some more leelas. That body was used by him for 40 years. That body is resting in Madurai Adinam's property. I have taken the blessings of the 292nd Guruma Sannidhanam to build that into a beautiful, huge temple. You can see the scene of Sundareshwara coming and eating the puttu of Vandi, the old lady. When I remember, God, this very land, he has taken 11 bodies and walked. These very roads, he would have walked and sold the firewood. These very roads, he has walked and sold bangles. This very road, he walked and sold diamonds. I'm really going crazy. this very Vaigai, he created this very Vaigai. He himself came and built embankment, at least acted as building embankment. Each action divine energy performs becomes one independent entity. If you connect with that energy, he gives you the same blessing. Understand? Sundareshwara is the energy of Leela, playfulness. Ask him whatever you want. He has broken all the rules. See, there is a law. Only a human body can radiate enlightenment, experience enlightenment. He has broken everything. He has given enlightenment to pigs. He has given enlightenment to bird. He has given enlightenment to cuckoo. He has given enlightenment to swan. Everyone can be assured. He has given enlightenment to pigs. What a Leela. Sundareshwara. Bhagavan explains, Sri Krishna
Yes, so that beautiful narration. Let us now move into receiving the darshan of Bhagavan Sundareshwara Paramashivam. Let's get ready for the live darshan of Bhagavan Sundareshwara Paramashivam, Sayujya Samadhi darshan.
explains in
Nithyananda. So let us now get ready for the live Sayujya Samadhi Darshan of Bhagwan Sri Nithyanandeshwara Bhagwan Sundareshwara Paramashiva. And the Shastra Pramana for Bhava Samadhi Darshan. This verse comes from the Malini Vijayottara Tantra, verse 60. It says, Kathana Shakti Padatva Yadva Padavalokanat Prasadat Swaguro Samyak Prapyate Paramam Padam. The translation of this verse, it says, by the enlightening teachings of the Guru, Kathana, by the Shaktipada, the graceful transmission of the spiritual powers from the Guru, by looking at the sacred feet of the Guru, or by the complete loving favor of the Guru, the Prasada, the ultimate goal and space, the Paramam Padam, is attained. Bhava Samadhi Darshan is not an event in space and time. Rather, darshan happens at the moment when we are lifted out of space and time. During Bhava Samadhi Darshan, our neurons mirror that of the avatar. Bhava is defined as directing and activating the emotional and spiritual energy that is created through meditation on the avatar. The brain neurons mirror, activate, and process all the observed movements or information of the avatar just by seeing and without the physical act of imitation. That is, our entire body, silently and without movement, recreates what is happening distances far away, experiencing the superconscious energy radiated by the avatar. And the science of Bhava Samadhi Darshan knows no distance, a phenomenon modern science is just discovering and terms as quantum tunneling. During Bhava Samadhi Darshan, our thoughts per second reduces significantly and we relax into the space beyond thoughts, thoughtlessness, becoming mentally at ease in coexisting dimensions beyond duality, where we and the divine become one, unconditioned by the parameters of time and space. It is the probability of a quantum particle like an electron with less kinetic energy to cross over the potential energy of an energy barrier. An electron acts both as a wave and a particle. Imagine a scenario: what happens when an electron with less kinetic energy is approaching a hill? Will the electron be able to cross over the potential energy or the peak of the hill as a particle?